a woodworker more than a carpenter at the time. Like I was like, I had been working as doing like any phase of construction that you could imagine until like 2005. Like I was like a roofer. I would like, would go in and notch pilings and frame houses from the ground up with, then I worked as a trim carpenter. I worked as like did like everything you could, like every like niche like job you could do as a woodworker on a house in a house. But I just always felt like I don't know, like I could do better, and I wanted to do better, and like kept on just always being like, oh well, you could improve it by doing like this. And then I wanted my work to be more representative of like the quality, like the skills that I had like gained. And so when I moved to Philadelphia, I mean, like this is why I'm thankful for the city. Is it was loaded with reclaimed wood, and like when I say reclaimed wood, it was loaded with dumpsters that were tearing everything in town down, because the houses are all from like the late 1800s to the early 1900s, and so they're tearing the city like to shreds and just throwing stuff in the dumpster left and right. And so for me, as like as a guy that had to go to the lumber yard and pay X amount of money for a piece of wood, like to like walk down the street and be like, whoa, look at that giant chunk of wood in the dumpster right there, and all I gotta do is like pop out these nails and turn it into this cool thing. Like that would be neat. And then, oh my god, I sold it for a grip of money. That was cool. Like, and then back to, let me trim your door or like whatever. But slowly I just started building things. Like, anybody who would let me kind of do something my way would kind of get a cool thing, because I would pour my heart into it. Like even some people would be like, come trim my house, but like, what would you do if you were going to do it? And I'd be like, let me go, let me do like this. I'd be like, I don't want to do that, but so when I moved to Philly, and like I had my own house for the first time, and then it was
right.
It was like, let's build.
It kind of forces you handy a bit, right?
Yeah. Well, I was already handy. Like I was already like knew how to like, this is how you make this thing and that thing. But it was like, like I made stuff for rich people that like, and I didn't really care like what stuff looked like at first. I didn't really think about it. But then like stuff started to become like really important once I owned a house, and I was going to make it like, all right, this is my house. Like, this is mine. Like, of course, mine's going to be better than everybody else's. Like, right. Because like, I do this, like, this is what I do. Right. So like, what's cool about it? And
I'm looking
at
that's
where I started.
You definitely built that wall that you're leaning against. So.
Yeah. It's burned wood. I burned this wall behind me before I nailed it to the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to backtrack a little bit, because like I know that Chris.
Yeah, I just started babbling.
Oh, it's cool. It's totally cool. Like, I got to tell you, I'm super excited to meet you. Like at least like this. I'd love to meet you in person. And I became aware of you through Headland Collective, and I was looking through some of the artists on that site, and I was like, I like this guy a lot, for a lot of reasons. It seems like on Headland, there's a lot of people who are bound by a similar connection to the sea, and then it emanates out from there. There's a lot of different artistic and creative skill sets that move in different directions. And I was just so drawn to your work, and I was very interested in this kind of like duality that you have, being a surfer and a very accomplished surfer, and also being a very accomplished craftsman and woodworker and artist. And the people that we've been interviewing, the people that we've been talking to, you can see very much how they cross-pollinate. And when I initially started looking at your work, I saw nothing of the ocean. I saw nothing of surfing. I saw nothing of like this aquatic thing that binds us or inspires us. And the more I started researching you and then looking at your work, I was seeing, oh, all right, this is like, like the hand shaping of a board. This is the hand shaping of a piece of wood. This is the hand shaping. This is the reclaiming of something and then making it functional. Like, like a board is a functional sculpture. It's made to be shaped. It's a work of art, but it's meant to be ridden. And then when I started thinking about your furniture designs in that way, it just clicked for me. And I was like, well, there it is. That's exactly.
That's like, it's clicking for me as we speak, like that whole connection. Because it has been less inspired, like my design process, or like even like I would, even the fact of that you call what I do art is a new revelation to me. Like even though I've been doing like roughly the same thing for over 10 years, I've like kind of always approached it from this is like, I'm a carpenter, you get up, you work from 8 to 4:30, and you make some stuff out of wood, and the customer pays you, like that's like one way of looking at it. And that's like how you have to look at any type of like construction, right? Like, you have to approach it. But then there's like, I've kind of started like, I've come to like some conclusions, I guess, about like the way I've been working and how I'd like to like and I look at like what I'm making, and I'm coming to like a place where like I'm finally accepting that like this is more than just like, it's more than furniture, but it's not art exactly, because it's furniture, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, and then this whole this hand shape, like I came to a conclusion a couple years ago. I started making some stuff, and I was like, well, if I make this, like anybody can make it, especially if I showed them how to make it. Like anybody can make this. But then if I make something and I shape it, like if I put this edge on it, like this is an edge that only I know how to do, like nobody else is putting edges on it like this, never seen anybody do that before, right? So this is like mine, this is like, and then it started to occur to me that that's like kind of like what a surfboard shaper is. Like everybody can make a surfboard. Yeah, it's 5'11" with 17 inches wide. I don't know, making the lamest surfboard, but it's it's got channels on the bottom, and you're like, okay, cool. Like you could give those like parameters to 100 different surfboard shapers, and you'll get 100 different surfboards, and probably 98 of them will suck. And like 2 of those guys will be guys that were like, here's what you said, and it works. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know why that is, but like that's what 3-dimensional shapes are, like they're either like just right or just not right, like something. And
but you could equate that
especially when you get into away from rectilinear design and like curving things, and like how many different ways can a curve happen, and the answer is like infinite like arcs that like you can do, and like some of them are good, and some of them are right, and some of them are graceful, and some of them are awkward, and there's a million different ways to do it. And
but
and like a surfboard, like when you know, right?
Exactly.
Like,
so like you work surfboard wise, like you ride like McMackey, you ride duos, and you recently were riding like an old school Skip Fry up north, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I had
they all work.
Just last week.
Yeah. But it's that.
Yeah, just last week I had a magic.
But it works,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matt, you're talking about my magic trip to Maine last week on my Skip Fry. But
did you get on that?
Like it's just like it just occurred to me like that there's like more than one way to approach what I'm doing, and like that, like I got to, well, I should go I could step back further, like on how I got to this place. But like a few years ago, I was like running my business, and I was employing 3 people, and I thought like, all right, I have a furniture company and I'll make more of everything. You know, I'll just like, oh, that was a cool thing that I made. I'll make 4 of them or something and see if I can sell those. Right. And I was like, I have people helping me, and like, we'll make more and more and more. Cause that's like what you do with furniture. Right. And I was like, but I was like not working out, you know, it was like taking work to keep the employees employed, and having employees make the things that I would normally make, which is like, I was like really particular about like the way they should be made, and then really let down when they were finished, you know, on some level. And on a lot of levels, like my employees were amazing people, and I had a really cool thing running for a minute. But I got to a place where I was just like, this isn't what I want to do. Like, this is like, this isn't a furniture company. Like, I don't want to make like the this thing a billion times and like have it sell for less and less money every time. You know, like I like to like pour my heart into each individual piece, and give it like my touch in every way that I can. So that even if it is just like something that looks pretty much like something you could go buy down the street, if you stand 20 feet away from it and take a picture of the 2 things, they're the same. But like if you were to, you know, touch and feel it, like you'd see like, oh man, like somebody like really cared. Somebody really like went out of their way to like make this thing like particularly special, and like, you know, and it's subtle, but it's also like, it's a tangible, tactile thing that you can like feel and touch. You might not ever be able to see it or say what's different about it, but you can like touch it and feel it and know immediately like this is a greater thing than that thing. And like that's where like that's when I started like, that's where I come in. Like, that's what I'm good at. I'm good at the work. I'm not good at the management. I'm not good at the business, and I don't really care about that at all. Like, and how could I ever be good at it if I don't care about it? So like, let me pour my heart into the part that I think I'm good at, and that's like the building. Even if I am a little like maybe less technically qualified a builder than some of the people that I've employed in the past, I feel like when I'm making something, like I want my hand to come through in the end exactly, and not like their interpretation of my idea, you know.
And I think it's incredible to hear you talk about the importance of the handmade, and the importance of the hand being evident in the work. I have a friend of mine, and it's funny, like I wish I could introduce you to a friend of mine. This guy, Mike, he's like one of my oldest friends. He's a custom kitchen and cabinet guy. And he ran into some of the same problems that you did. In fact, that like his volume could have just like blown up, and he still wanted to be intimately involved in the work, and he wanted his hand to be present because he was an artisan. He wasn't a fabricator, you know. And, you know, when you start talking about how important it is for you to have your hand in the work, it speaks very much to board shaping. And I mean, I just,
it goes right back.
This is where our work
back to it. Let me. It's like it goes right back to that. Like, it's like like you said, the fabricator is the computer shaper. You know what I mean? And they literally are the computer shaper. Most of them would be using a $100,000 machine that can carve and make wood precisely, accurately perfect every time. You know what I mean? And cool, and especially if like you can do, you know, like that's working for those people. And it's like, that's never going to work for me. And that was like not how I was ever going to like express. And apparently like I have like a hard time not doing it my way. It's because like I you know, like I just like to my own detriment. But like, you know, here I am after 10 years of work.